Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second episode of Chef Ivan Chan MasterClass podcast. Second guest, I'm going to have a really good friend of mine and our former Top Chef Canada contestant. She is the owner of Will Fig Meats. And without further ado, I'm just going to bring her in. He is Chef Lauren Marshall. Hi, Lauren. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Wow, it's this weird day for Nova Scotia with everything happening and just kind of difficult. And I thought everybody wanna maybe shift the attention a little bit to something positive and stuff like that. And so I always start with the drink of the night. So
I'm here for
what?
it.
Well, you know what I'm drinking, but
SPC.
I'm gonna let you show yours first.
I'm showing mine first,
Sure,
uh, or you're showing yours first.
you can do it
Okay.
first. You're the guest.
This is like I already had to make it because I'm having a tea. Um,
Oh,
so I'm having a lemon ginger tea. It's
mhm.
nothing crazy. I didn't have any real ginger or real lemon in my fridge. But I just did a tea party event. So I have homemade vegan honey.
Those food look amazing, man. I wish I could be there.
And then fresh tea. And so I have nice honey goes in my tea, lemon, ginger. And I didn't have lemon, but I do have fresh lime. So I
Jeez, you all prepare.
limes in my tea. And in case this conversation gets crazy and I don't have time to go to the kitchen, I have some extra hot water. So I can just keep refilling my tea. I don't have to move. I'm just in it to win it.
She is already expected to tell us a lot of stuff. You guys are in for a treat. So, my turn. A lot of people know I'm a big fan of Lockett Vineyard. I'm going to put it on the camera. I'm going to have a Lockett Vineyard Hair of the Dog, which is a little bubbly, rosé little wine. And their stuff are getting better every year. I'm pretty much exclusively running
Oh,
running their stuff on my restaurant right now. So, um, well, Jeff, thanks for joining us tonight. Cheers,
wow.
and good to have you. It's funny though. I gotta talk about. We have been talking on Facebook for a while,
Hmm.
but this is the first time we literally have a conversation face to face. Very first time. Like it's so weird. Well, other than that time you sneak into the restaurant, but without telling me.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
I literally was I the one actually took your reservation on the phone.
Yeah.
That was so weird. Like I cannot believe you didn't even tell me who you are. Like I pick up the phone, I kind of like, oh, okay, and then you show up, and then afterwards I saw the post, and I was losing my mind. I cannot believe she showed up without even. Well, we were getting slammed really
It
bad
was
that
busy.
night.
It was busy. It was Easter. Me and my wife went out for Easter dinner at your
Yeah.
restaurant. It was the best little date spot, and
Mm-hmm.
we were having our own time. So we were making it about us and not about you. So that's why we did.
Yeah, well, it's good. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Uh, I didn't
so
bother you either because you were really busy. So
yeah, it was
that.
weird. I was by myself. I was literally cooking by myself. My sous chef wasn't there, and it was weird. It was weird. All I can say. But anyway,
Delicious.
we're here.
But I can.
We're here to share your stories. So I'm gonna change the ticker a little bit. I actually did some research on your story too, and so would you like to start by telling us that why vegan?
I'm vegan. I mean, there's so many reasons why. But maybe why vegan 9 years ago when I went vegan.
Mm-hmm.
That would be maybe the easiest way to go. 9 years ago, I was enrolled in a nutrition program at a place called the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. They just have branches all over the country. It's an institution that's been around for about 30 years. And Not that it was a program at all to do with veganism, not at all, but all signs point to the more plant-based foods you eat, the healthier your body can be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I was enrolled in culinary school, so 2004, so backtracking 20 years almost, um, my mother suffered a series of mini strokes. So I was first year culinary school. My grandfather was dying in the hospital, and he had many, many health implications based on poor diet. My mother had many health implications based on poor diet. And I thought to myself, while in culinary school, I'm sort of learning all these things
Mm-hmm.
that tend to lead towards poor health if we kind of don't manage it. And I always wanted to study nutrition because I wanted to kind of master the way to eat personally so that I didn't end up in the same spot that previous generations before me did.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was studying nutrition, all signs were pointing to plants. And I made a really slow transition. I just stopped drinking milk. Then I stopped, I don't know, eating cheese. Then I stopped eating meat. And then I probably stopped eating fish last. And it was like a year and a half transition that I did, just based on nutrition, just on the things that I had been studying and things I was learning in school. And now fast forward to new age Canadian Health Food Guide 2019, the healthy plate tells you to eat half your plate of fruits and vegetables, a quarter of your plate as grains, and the other quarter is proteins. And not only is meat in it, but so are legumes and tofu and nuts and seeds and all kinds of different ways to get protein, which is only a quarter of the whole picture, right?
Yep.
So for me, it was a health thing, and then I became a really kind of sensitive, love animal lover of all
Mm-hmm.
ways. So very emotionally connected and attached to anything that has feelings. So
Mm-hmm.
for me now, it encompasses everything. But it began as a health journey for myself, and then teaching myself how to cook yummy, healthy food for other people, that sort of thing.
I I call you the homegrown elite chef because this is what you want to do your whole life. You
Yeah.
know, without like we all grew up like myself. I used to be a computer builder. I turn around and something that I grew up with. We kind of have a little similar thing because I pretty much get my passion for food from my grandmother, and I thought yours is pretty much from your grandfather.
Yeah.
It's almost like a second generation thing, and I never really started like cooking, and but that's why I say you are pure homegrown because that's all you want to do. You want to go to Holland College. You you did all those traveling around the world, try to improve yourself, which for somebody like myself who have as much passion as I do about cooking, a lot of your experience I dream to have. I really do. You know, cooking in India, Australia, like those places is it's kind of funny. This is gonna piss off a lot of people now. I I always look at myself because I grew up in Hong Kong, which is like a central of most of the stuff in the world back in the 80s, 90s where I grew up. So I have so much experience about different things and that I experienced because my father
Big
was a
city.
businessman. Yeah, and I found typically around here, I'm gonna make some people mad, and they are gonna have a little different perspective about different type of food on the other side of the other side of the world.
Sure.
And as long as I know, as soon as I know that you cook in India and in Melbourne and all those cities, like you have experience that probably most chefs do not have around here because you really see the other spectrum of the food culture
Hmm.
and the flavor profile, which is a really big benefit you have, advantage you have, and develop to what you have. I mean, your creations been nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, it's just you know, I'm not just saying it to you, Lauren. I really do feel that way. It just it's difficult when you have to be that versatile and all those vegan options that you are providing.
Hmm.
But no, any big ideas and that you have coming, or like bigger menus or big items or anything you're planning? You may want to tell everyone.
I got lots of things planned. Um, One thing is, I mean, as long, knock on wood, um, I am blowing down a wall next to me and expanding my space.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah,
all
you
goes
you you
well.
told me that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty big. That's enough to keep me busy for the next few months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, hopefully we'll get a couple more seats to kind of entice a different crowd because we're very much comfort food takeout,
Mm-hmm.
plant-based meats and cheese kind of grab it and go, like a butcher shop, but different, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we'll be able to do a lot more fun stuff with that. It's still not that much space, but it's more than what we have. So yeah,
I think yours is still bigger than mine, but hey,
no, I'm 530 square feet.
my my dining room is okay, but my kitchen is a lot smaller than yours, guaranteed.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. Yeah, my kitchen is mostly my entire space.
Yeah, because you eat at my place. That is about 2/3 of the space I have.
Right.
So the kitchen is pretty tiny. But
Mhm.
wait until, okay, I'm gonna spoil it now. Some of my friends know. I don't know. Should I tell people what we were talking about? What we are gonna do in September?
Oh, okay. That's what you wanted me to talk. That's what I was supposed to bring up. Yeah,
Or
bring it
I'm
up.
just trying. All right, all right. We haven't really get into details yet, guys. I've been going around my head about like, hey, what Chef Lauren want to do, but we are gonna do a dinner together in the fall. Like we don't know, but we are talking about September. But let's talk about it now. You want me to do some vegan food too, or you want to come in and do something different? See,
We,
we never talk about this. This is the
we,
first now.
I think we should collaborate and sort of work together. I think that would be really fun
Okay.
instead of like battle of the plates. It would be really
Mm.
fun to just come together on the dishes and just work together as a team. I like that. I don't know. Or we can battle, but I don't think that's not my style.
Okay. No, I do whatever. I'll do whatever. But I literally last night I know I was gonna bring this up. I was like, what kind of vegan plate I can do? But like
Like
it's
we've got I've got the meats and you've got the flavor profile,
trust me,
right?
I have been thinking about using your meat to put into Chinese cooking. Like that's something I've been really thinking about. Like how am I gonna, and implement your meat. I've been telling my wife so many times now in the past month, like on my day off, I was like, yeah, I need to go see Lauren. Gotta go pick up some
I need
product,
to
and
come just drop some stuff off at your doorstep, but
I
this
I need to.
yeah.
I need to pick up some product. Well, I'll buy some product from you, and I want to play with it. Just
Mhm.
with my situation right now, I don't even have time to sleep. Just to
Right. Yeah, no time to play.
no, but
Well,
but play is one thing, right? But you have to keep playing to keep yourself interested, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So back to your experience that I'm more jealous about.
Oh, stop it.
All those traveling, then Bucket, Australia, India. Can you tell the audience any really memorable meal or cooking experience you have during those times?
I mean, one of the most memorable things, I mean, I've always loved doing yoga, so it was really a dream of mine to go
Mm-hmm.
to India and study yoga. Um, and with yoga comes a traditional, like holistic medicine called Ayurveda.
Mm-hmm.
An expert in Ayurvedic cooking or cuisine, but I found a little center in South India, and I took a cooking, like, nutrition course for a few weeks, and I fell in love with the people and the doctors and the owner and just everything
Mm-hmm.
about this little center. Um, so I had sort of like this one-on-one, because I was there, I guess, in the rainy season, so it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't busy at the school.
Okay.
Um, and I had one-on-one training for 2 weeks with Ayurvedic doctors, and treatments with Ayurvedic practitioners, and little cooking classes. So it gave me a start about healthy style Indian cooking, which was a whole different world. They talk about cooking for your dosha, which is like three different types of, like, you sort of get categorized into in a type, and then you can eat for that type to help benefit your health, for lack of better words. So that gave me a little start, and one of the really, it wasn't about, well, I mean, all the dishes were so amazing, but it was about learning the masala mixes. It was about learning how to toast different spices. It was
Yeah.
like every dish popping like mustard seeds and fresh curry leaves. And then taking that, I went to another area in South India to study yoga. And there was just this little vegetarian Indian restaurant down the road. So
Mm-hmm.
we stayed in this apartment, studied yoga, and then lunch and dinner. I can't remember. It would be dinner every night. We just went
Okay.
to the same restaurant, and it was owned by this sweet, wonderful man who just came to the table with just so much joy and love. The restaurant was like called Super Brotham, which I think, um, now this is so long ago. I think it has to do with like the sunrise,
Okay.
and that being like a really good time of day to be productive and get things done. Um, but he was so kind, so he would let me come into the kitchen and watch him cook, and he couldn't speak English. So we just sort of communicate with our hands and pointing at things. And then it was there where I kind of saw how the traditional like Indian gravies were made. And so where
Mm-hmm.
my head goes, gravy is what you use at Thanksgiving, and with an Indian cooking, gravy is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think sort of learning about Indian cooking was really, really cool as a chef, because that was a whole different world for me than traditional French cooking at culinary
Yeah.
school.
Mm-hmm.
And just really living there and experiencing it every day was really, um, an opportunity of a lifetime, really, to be able to take that time out of my life and do that. So I mean, I'm sure there's so many places in the world you could go and sort of experience something similar that would be life changing. But for me, yeah, it was really how different that style of cooking was, and eating it every day and experiencing it and doing yoga. And yeah, it was, yeah,
It's
it's
it's unbelievable because I can tell you, like, I have so many chef friends like come in my kitchen, and I've they will watch me cook. Like, I have chef friend come in and look at me doing those special dinner, and Chef Andrew, last time he was in, he looked at me. He said, "You know what? Everything that you are doing with Chinese cooking is backwards. Is backwards what he was brought up with in French cooking school.
Mhm.
Like, it is the, but the whole thing is, he even say, but at the end, the result is the same,
Right.
right?
That's
So
really
so
cool.
that's pretty much that I think that I call you a homegrown star chef, because you have that experience that most chef would not experience, like how different it is. Like,
Mhm.
like the flavor profile is one thing. It's the cooking method, how backwards it is. I was just showing Bob from Mountain Subaru how he make his meatballs, and he do it traditional way. I said, no. I said, this is how we make Chinese lion heads. Similar thing, but the procedure is totally backwards. I,
Mhm.
I spent an hour talking to him on the phone, pretty much explain everything, and those are the stuff that I wish I had more experience on that kind of aspect too, right? And that's why like I think what you have is really unique, um, especially the experience all over the world. That is one thing that I think every chef want to improve should be jealous of,
Oh.
include myself. Um, but now, no, I mean, the vegan food, and it's kind of funny. Like I think I have a fair share of health issues myself because I have a lot of genetic problems, like with blood pressures and stuff like that. And I've been, since I've been talking to you, I have been thinking about trying taking up vegan myself.
Ooh.
And yeah, like that's something that I didn't even tell my wife, but I've been thinking about it, and I I want to do it maybe at least on my day off.
Mhm.
It's not possible for me to not try anything at work,
Yeah, oh,
but
yeah.
on day off, I might try to lean towards that way right now, and at the end, the health is more important than anything.
Mhm.
That's pretty much how I feel with everything right now. But anyway, I want to ask you, what is your favorite or most memorable dish you
Yeah.
ever ate?
I thought about this a lot, and I've been asked this before, and I think it's a I personally think it's a really hard question to answer because I think it depends on no, I think I feel like I experience something that's memorable and wonderful every few months or every year. There's something that stands out for that year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I find that question's really hard because I could probably go back to every year in my life and tell you a really memorable meal or dish that I had or made that impacted me in some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really tough question. Um, taste wise and wow factor, most recently was I went to Vegas with some girls in March and I
Okay.
ate at a really well known vegan restaurant called Crossroads.
Okay.
Um, and they had a vegan foie gras dish on their menu. And
Ooh.
I tried like 5 different things and they were all really incredible. Vegan caviar, all kinds of fun stuff. But the foie gras, like coming from a French culinary background,
Yep.
um, having worked in French restaurants,
Man, I would love to taste that.
I was blown away. I it tasted like I mean it's been probably I would say 12 or more years since I probably had foie gras because obviously it doesn't really align with my values anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But from my memory, it sparked all the flavors, all the feelings, all the things that a chef wants from a good pate, foie gras
Mm-hmm.
pate. It did it. So
Wow.
that was memorable for this year. But yeah, I could probably point out something really wonderful and memorable every few months or every year or something a staff member made for me and showed me. So it's
Have you tried to attempt it?
it. What's that?
Have you tried to attempt doing that yourself?
Attempt not that particular dish, but it definitely again that needs to be done.
Uh oh, I'll be the first one in line because I that's one of my favorite thing to eat.
Mm,
If
those-
you ask me what is one of the more memorable thing I eat in Halifax
mhm.
many years ago, Mother Tucker. Remember that one
That
on
was where my parents went on their wedding anniversary
yeah.
every year.
They have the best pate there. I still remember.
Okay.
Like I I don't even remember how many years ago, but every time I went there back in those days, I that's the first thing I go for.
Okay.
And they were so good. Like you just brought me back some memories. That's one of the favorite memories I have at from Mala Tucker. I always talk about. I even tell my wife like whenever back in the days when I want good food, I probably that's one of the choice that I would think about.
Right.
Um, but food and memories, right?
Right.
It's something that you never forget. A lot of people doesn't realize that's one of the most like with people's scent. Food is actually one of the stick with you the longest, and it's actually lasts forever. I
Mhm.
guess it can make us feel special for what we do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I always say there people are interviewing me or I'm chatting about what I do now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
creating fake meats and cheeses. And fake is a funny word because it's like real food, but just not real
Mm-hmm.
meat, right? Um,
Imitate.
recreating
Yeah.
a memory that
Yes.
I've had from my time growing up as a child with my grandfather or culinary school or restaurants I've worked in. I'm recreating those things that I remember as a meat and cheese and all those things chef or those memories that I've had um, throughout my life, right? So it is really, especially when it comes to uh, doing our Christmas, our holiday orders, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, any of those times, really trying to dig into like my personal memories and also try to bring that with my from my staff members if they're willing to share. So, what's your favorite thing? One of my
Mm-hmm.
staff like, oh, my grandmother would make this crab dip, and we'd eat crab dip with cocktail sauce, and they're like, well, we should make crab dip for people, you know. So I'm trying to pull that from my staff members too. Like, I had a staff member who's part Italian, and she said we eat eggplant, baba ganoush type dip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like not baba ganoush, but an eggplant dip,
Mm-hmm.
Italian eggplant dip. Anyway, so trying to pull that from my staff members too is really cool. Cooking with a memory, really.
It's creating that memories for people. Is I always tell. I guess it's my perspective as a chef. Um, I always say the food is secondary. It's always an experience to provide you that memory with the food. To me, is the most important to me. Um, but what's better than you trying to bring people's memory back with flavor
Mm,
that they remember in their mind. A lot of time that is lost and bring back that good memories of those amazing flavors. It's a pretty godly job what you're doing. I'll tell you that. It's you know it's I don't think I can achieve what you do. I look at a lot of your stuff and I was like, hey, I don't think I can do that. It's really like as a chef is extremely difficult in my book.
yeah, it's
But
I do like the interesting thing about how my business works is I have almost two different businesses in one. One where I make all these products, maybe
mm-hmm,
50 different products. I don't know. I haven't counted them recently because I like to add things when I get bored.
mm-hmm,
Um, but then you take those products and you turn them into a meal, and there's your other business. We're doing
yeah,
this takeout comfort food, and we're doing this like whole food plant based meat and
yeah,
cheese business and putting them together. So when you run out of chicken, you like have to make it from scratch. You can't call the supplier and get it to come in the
nope,
next day. So
yeah.
it's a
Cisco's out of the equation on that.
yeah. Um, so that's it works. But we opened the business with one freezer, and it was like this game of Tetris every day. What
Yeah,
thing are we the lowest on? And then we play this game like, can we get by with this much? Or everything you had you couldn't freeze because you didn't have any space, so you had to make it fresh every 3 or 4 days. Now our meat freezes really well, so the business model can it works quite well for us
yeah.
because we don't have to we couldn't possibly make all the different meats and cheeses if they didn't last you know
Hmm.
more than 3 days, right? So um,
But I think the best type of chefs is the one that who know how to adapt,
mm,
right? Like everyone can follow a recipe and okay, freeze this, but you adapt to what you have and what you are trying to achieve in a goal of real fake meats. I mean, you create your own. I mean, that's to me, that's like the to me it's like a greatest culinary story ever. Because you see that's something that I have been doing. I guess I'm gonna brag a little bit
Let's hear
myself,
it.
and I started this restaurant of mine. I want to make a statement. I want to make a statement telling people in HRM that, hey, you know what? Chinese food is not just fast food. It
Nice.
can be that high end food with the really delicate profile and everything, and with the plating and everything. And most people haven't experienced because I always say it's nothing against it. Like all those fast food
Mhm.
type of Chinese food,
Sure.
and on the other hand, is all about. I always say, hey, you know what? If two-person want to go out and have a nice treat themselves, that they want to spend some money and stuff like that, and they would not think Chinese food. Why? Because I grew up with the highest end Chinese food in Hong Kong. Like I have
Totally.
experience, and
Yeah.
my grandmother was prep cooks and one of the best Chinese food high end dining restaurants back in the days, and she cooked us every Saturday night. I'll be at my grandmother's house. She was making what she prepped that week at the restaurants. Like I have the best food in every single day, like every single week when I'm there. And why people here don't realize it?
Mm-hmm.
Like I always look at your story and my story is really similar in a way. Well, I'm not you. Like I would not dare, but but on the other hand, it's almost like you really establish something that people don't see it coming almost,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you build a brand for yourself, which something that you dreamed of, something that you want to do, and something that you want to take care of your family because your mother triggered that vegan thoughts, and you take care of families and all that. And the same thing with me. I think I want to give people something that's different. I want to tell people, hey, you know what? There is more than just all those batter chicken. And
That was my least favorite, also.
I don't get it.
Chicken.
I really don't get it. Trust me. The first day I'm in Canada back in 90. Oh, I'm going to tell people how old I am now. 90, 92. I was in Ontario, and I was picked up by a friend that I knew in Hong Kong for years, and he brought me to a mall. So I sit down at the food court. He say, hey, want to get some lunch? I say, sure. Do you want to? Do you want some chow mein? I say, yeah, sure. Just give me some chow mein. So I was expecting some noodles. I was like, and then he brought me a whole plate of bean sprout. I said, what the heck is this? you know, but nothing really against it. It's just different culture, different presentations, and I was like, hey, this is not what I expected. And most people will hear me complain about my egg rolls. If you ask me what items I want to get rid of on my menu the most, egg rolls. But
Okay.
but most people will tell me I have the best egg rolls in the city, and that's
Favorite.
another story in another day. But but it's kind of like it still kind of bugs me that I still have egg rolls on my menu because I want to do authentic Chinese food, not Canadian Chinese food. That's one of the biggest things for me. It's like, oh my god, I don't like that thing.
Mm-hmm.
My staff would be like, oh, this fresh one, chef, and they won't grab it. They eat it. I was like, I would look at my staff. They're mostly Chinese. I was like, I don't even know why you want to eat the damn thing. They were like,
Yes,
oh, chef,
that's
they're so good. But it's all about that dream. It's all about making that go. And I think you done it. You really done it. I will say I done it the day I said, you know what, no more egg roll, guys. Which is
no.
it's not gonna happen. Will never happen. I I
Well,
I
I
have
said I would never serve burgers, and I didn't for 2 years, and then I gave in. I have a thing about burgers. I was like, you
You
can go
you
anywhere in
are
this goddamn city and get a burger. I don't need to be making more burgers for people.
you are making me all emotional now. But
Mm-hmm.
no, it's all about chasing that dream, right? I always tell people that the most satisfying feelings is when you put the food out that you see whoever is there, your customer, ha- created happy memories eating your food. To
Mm-hmm.
me, it's the most satisfying moment
Mm-hmm.
as a chef. It's, kind of sucks to say, like, hey, of course, the money is one thing, but on the other hand, I mean, this pretty much what drive me,
Yeah.
right? And you, I believe, is like you want you because your mother's health issues. You wanna, you know what? Let's work on some healthy diet for the family and stuff like that. That what you work towards. And now it's kudo to you, really do, and you really make it happen. And well, who doesn't know Will Fake Meats in Halifax anymore, right?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But so can you tell me maybe a little bit experience about being at Top Chef Canada?
Sure. I mean, I think anyone that's been on it, I I hope I'm not like, I don't know, saying something wrong, but at least on my season, I feel like anyone that's been on it has
Uh oh,
like feelings of like a little bit of trauma, like it was like an experience.
Stephanie may be watching. Be
I like
careful.
no, I like to think that it was very much like a Big Brother experience. So,
Okay.
but it was also very real, which
Mm,
really, it is really real. Like people
it
said,
is.
you actually have like a clock. Was there? Yes, it was all real. You
Yeah.
showed up, you had no idea what was going to happen. The clock went to 30 minutes. They told you what you were doing. The clock turned on, and all the cameras were in your face while you were trying to cook something. Um, so, and it happened really quickly. The other thing, at least on my season, we all lived together. And not only
Okay.
did we live together, is like we were in bedrooms with bunk beds. So we
Ooh.
were like sleeping on top of each other essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is fine, but it felt very much on purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
we all lived together, ate together, did everything together, and then competed against each other.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting dynamic. And we all really became friends. So it was
Mm-hmm.
a really beautiful, loving experience where you like instantly find connections with people and they become friends
Yeah.
with you for the rest of your life. Um, but when you came out of it, it was like someone popped a bubble and then
Mm-hmm.
you're like, where am I? What do I do now? So we had to be quiet for months. I mean, we
Yep.
filmed in the summer and it didn't like, so
You
filming,
couldn't tell anybody where you went to. You have to hide. Like that's a lot of people doesn't realize that.
I made up a
Yeah.
story that like a week before I went to film the show, I had a boyfriend from Australia who
Uh-huh.
broke up with me. He broke up with me because I got on the show.
Uh-huh.
A really weird thing where he felt really, I don't know, jealous. I don't know what it was, but he was really triggered when I succeeded at things. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a good relationship. It needed to end.
Mm-hmm.
But he ended it with me and my heart was broken.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so when that happened, I didn't tell anyone because I knew I had to go film the show. So my lie
Yeah.
to everyone was that I had to fly to Australia to be with my boyfriend.
Uh-oh.
And I was going to go on a trip to be with my boyfriend for a month who had actually broke up with me that I didn't tell anybody about
Mm-hmm.
because I had to like come up with like an excuse. So I had
Uh-huh.
just become the chef at Envie, which is one out of two of the first vegan restaurants that opened in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 weeks later, I went on Top Chef. So I had no reason to help open a restaurant and 2 weeks later leave for an entire month. So I was like,
Oh.
what is going to make sense? So I was like,
Yeah.
I guess I'll just tell everyone I need to see my boyfriend. It
Yeah.
didn't make any sense. So because of that, coming out of that bubble and then this breakup, and it felt very wild and surreal, and it was like hard to go back into society.
Yeah.
and it's not. It's hard to explain to people that haven't maybe been on reality TV before,
Uh-huh.
because I don't really know anything else like it. I
Uh-huh.
sort of felt that way when I came back from India, because
Uh-huh.
two different cultures, right? So
Yeah.
it's similar to like feeling culture shock, if you ever
Yeah.
have felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt culture shock to Canada. I didn't feel that way when I went to India. I was like, this place is great. But when I came home, I was like, I was used to loud cars and things moving
Yeah.
around and doing yoga. And then I was on a quiet lake at my father's house,
Yeah.
and I was like, it's too
Because no one is around compared to Asia.
So I had like culture shock to Canada. So that was the only other way I could explain kind of coming out of filming that show is like somebody popped a bubble and then like popped my balloon, and then I didn't know what to do. I felt very like lost, and um, maybe needed like therapy after or something. I didn't realize I needed until years later. So we kind of talked to people we were on the show with, because they were only people we could talk about stuff with, for
Mm-hmm.
like 6 months. Like we were done filming in September, and then they didn't announce anything till the end of February. Now I'm exaggerating, so it's like that was like 4 months or 3 months, but
Okay. Still hard for 4 weeks. Not talk about 4 months.
quiet, stay quiet around people that you work with every
Yeah.
day. And at the time, I not only worked at On V and was running the kitchen there with them,
Mm-hmm.
but I had also still been teaching cooking classes with the Loblaws cooking schools. So
Okay.
I had like 5 different coordinators that I like continually spoke with and worked with on a regular
Wow.
basis. I had a lot of people I worked with and like communicated with.
How
Was
can you keep it to yourself?
that
Jeez.
was really hard. And then my mom knew. So
Mm-hmm.
anyone that you were to tell, you had to sign a contract with, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and they could sue you if anybody
Mm-hmm.
leaked information and that sort of thing. So it does
Mm-hmm.
help keep you quiet,
Mm-hmm.
because you're like, I don't have $1 million, so I'm not gonna tell anybody.
But
It'll
that right why I brought this up because well this is for you, Bob. I know you're watching. We were we were talking the other night. Like Bob is one of my guests or one of the later episode in the summer. I guess he want to improve. He's really into cooking, and I he asked me one questions that I think he would love to hear your perspective, your answer of that questions, because he know I used to do competitions. He knows I get involved with gold medal plate and all that, and he asked me one question. It's like why it always have to be cooking related to competitions? Can you answer that, Chef?
I mean, for me, it's because I'm a chef. I guess that's where my comfort is. Is that a good enough? You know,
I
it was for me to step out of my comfort zone in general.
exactly.
I never did culinary competitions when I was in school. I never wanted to do it,
Hmm.
but it was an email I got from Chef Craig Finn, who said they're looking for some female chefs and they're having a really hard time finding some like strong female chefs out there that want to get on here and do this. And I said, I guess I'll like apply and see what happens. It was more for me, anytime I do something different like that, it's because I know it'll be good for me, on a personal like growth level, potentially on a career level, but really it's to challenge yourself, but not because I like competition. I absolutely hate competition.
You are not competitive at all. I know that.
So I don't know. Yeah, for me, it's uh, to grow and help grow myself as a person, and accomplish something that I didn't think I could do. Or my goal was really not to get kicked off on the first episode. So I felt everything was gravy after that.
It's kind of funny. Like my question to him was, those are the opportunity for me to push me out of my comfort zone to do something I normally won't do.
Hmm.
You get to those crazy competitions. Like I mean, my first winning plate was something I called just another Chinese combo. I literally like turned the egg rolls using bisons, and I was using all those different stuff that normally I would never dare to do.
Mhm.
Right. But to me, is it's all about improving and get myself push myself out of the way, like to get to the next level. And it's not even trying to win or lose. It's pretty much just try to prove yourself what you're capable of.
Mhm.
And this is how my perspective on that.
Mhm.
But like since you been to the biggest stage of of all at Top Chef Canada, that's why I kind of like, yeah, maybe Chef Lauren have a answer about it.
Yeah.
And
I like that's it terrifies me,
it
but
is terrifying.
my game plan, not that they like you saying game, but my game plan really was to pretend that I was very confident and I was there to win. I felt like I did a pretty good job. So I went in there and I was like, I got this one in the bag. I'm very confident about the competition.
Been there, done that.
I'm gonna win this one. But really, like, I was shaking in my boots and I knew it.
Yep,
But it was all about not letting anyone know that. And I think that not just because it was television, but I think in a competition level, you
it is.
you want to scare your competitors a little bit,
Hmm.
show up with a little confidence.
It's
And
nerve wracking though.
yeah,
I'll tell you, it's crazy.
I did win one of the challenges, and it was the first one, and it was
Hmm.
because Sir Lee liked my vegan scallops.
Hmm.
So it was a big win for me and for the vegan community because I was coming back like to be the head chef on V at the time. So it felt good,
Hmm.
to kind of to have that win in my pocket, but I was terrified, and
It is.
the time ticks so much quicker, and it's tough. It's really tough. I don't know.
I cannot believe
I
those.
love watching it, but being in it was a different game.
It. I mean, like even for me, those competitions that I get involved with, that I pretty much have time to prepare, with gold medal plate and all that. But when you're on the stage and those judges start starting you questions like you said, you gotta look all confidence and give them the answer. But man, my legs are shaking half of the time,
Mhm.
right? Like try to don't cannot say anything bad. You don't want them to think that you don't know anything. Like you have to be really careful.
I know what I'm doing. And the really hard thing is like I felt like on my season, which may have changed after because sometimes if they only had a certain amount of ingredients in the fridge, people
Hmm.
would compete to grab them. And
Yep.
that would be like your major proteins, like a whole fish or something like that, because it was a quick fire. So I felt like I'd often get pushed out of the way, and by the time I opened the fridge, there was really not much left. So that was another like layer of challenge because I'm like, all right, well, I'll just do something with this eggplant, I guess. Like I don't get a lot of
Mm.
time. Um, but yeah, it's interesting on another level because you don't give the list of ingredients you're going to use, at least on the quick fires. So you open the fridge, and if somebody grabs something that you thought you would take, then it's gone, and I'll just be like, this is going to be tough. I will use these snap peas in the omelet, but I never put a snap pea in an omelet in my life. But you make these weird decisions because your brain isn't like communicating properly with your hands. So it was a wild experience.
It must be something that a lot of people doesn't realize, like how much difficult for you because of your diet being on that stage, and because you turn around, like you really limited what you can use in the pantry and
Sure.
stuff like that. Like a lot of people doesn't realize how difficult it is, and a lot of people watch it's like, oh, chef, like you just being whatever. But no, like I really do believe what you're doing is extremely difficult to achieve. But anyway, well, let's say, oh, I'm gonna take myself in a hole now.
Okay.
So who is the chef that you would love to do a collapse with if you
You.
have a choice? Please don't use me as a question answer.
I
Oh my.
wanted to make you blush. Uh, but I've always maybe, and this is a good learning experience for you because maybe you haven't heard of them.
Okay.
So since my early like vegan chef days, there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a lot of people, say 10 years ago, doing 10 or 11 years ago, because I enrolled in I enrolled in the nutrition program well before I went vegan, and I was really interested in the vegan cooking and the healthy cooking, but there wasn't much out there.
Mm-hmm.
The cookbook I bought was called Veganomicon, which I,
Okay.
I don't even know if I've like really used any recipes from it. I do still have it. Um, but it was really trial and error, except for there was these two guys from Ireland who were like making waves, and they were twin brothers that had like traveled around and ended up from their travels like doing a work stay and living with someone that was vegan, and they're like, well, this is great, we should be vegan. But they were like, nobody's vegan in Ireland, like what are we going to do? So when
Yeah.
they moved back to their hometown, which was like the Greystones, which is maybe like 50 minutes outside of Dublin,
Mm-hmm.
and they bought a grocery store, like a little mini grocery food market. And they just said, let's just have our little grocery store, and then we'll just start making vegan stuff and see if anybody's into it. And they are now just they are they are some of the biggest vegan kind of chef spokespeople for our community, on sort of a world level. So they're the Happy Pear Brothers. Is I wanted to give the story before I said who they were,
Mm-hmm.
but written cookbooks, have food in grocery stores. They're really, and they have this. They still keep this beautiful food market, but it's not only just about the food and them sort of changing an entire community and opening people's eyes to veganism, even if it's not changing them. It's the place people want to go and eat lunch and drink coffee, and that just happens to be vegan. That's great, right? And they're giving people nourishing, healthy food and feeling really good about what they do. But they're really health oriented. So in the morning, they're on their, I don't know, live stream doing yoga. And then they started a swim club called Swim Rise. So
Okay.
every morning at sunrise, they go to the ocean all year round and swim in the ocean. And they gather, sometimes hundreds of people a day will go there to swim in the ocean. And I don't know if you've kind of heard, it's sort of becoming a little more mainstream with cold plunging being really good for you, the cold water on your body,
Mm-hmm.
and really good for circulation,
Yep.
loads of different things, mental health. So they do that year round. So not only are they pushing really amazing vegan food and healthy food, but they, promote healthy lifestyle
Okay.
and activities in their own town, which is pretty cool. So I guess it would be to cook with them. And all I have to do is get on a plane. I'm sure I could maybe do it.
It's funny though. Like I have been thinking. Well, I haven't done it. I guess I'll spoil it now. I have been thinking about since you say you would do this. I have been thinking about sneaking one day and just grab a donair. I
Yeah,
want to have your donair so bad.
please. Like that is the reason why I started my business.
Yeah, I want to try them so bad. It kind of like I'm gonna try to find time and sneak in and try to have it donair without you knowing. Like
That's
you want,
so rude.
like what you did to me.
Yeah. I didn't sneak in. We spoke on the phone. I made an
Yeah, we did.
reservation.
It's kind of funny. Like I
I
still
know.
couldn't get over how you call and make the reservation with me on the phone. And you should have seen me afterwards after you left. I realized you were there. Somebody messaged me. It's like, was Lauren at your place? Like, what are you guys talking about? She said you could post on Instagram. I was like, you must be kidding me. I lost my mind, like when you were there. We have been talking for so long, and guys, this is the first time we talk face to face.
That's right.
It's crazy. Like it's a world of technology. Like it's so weird, right? But we have been talking about, wow. She have been hearing me vent about everything about my business, I guess, a lot. But it's just been difficult. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, okay. So what about that program that you have been doing?
No.
The health one, 70 something days.
Yeah, so I'm doing like a health challenge. I like to call it a health challenge because it's not really about following a diet. I don't really like saying like being on a diet or people dieting. Like people can do whatever they want, that's fine. But I do find that sometimes it can get unhealthy. But I am doing a challenge, and it was really to reset bad habits really and get into like learning structure and routine, which is what I'm really taking from it. So it's a program called 75 Hard. I don't think that the wording is very kind. Um,
Oh, okay.
Meaning hard, like that's sort of in a way a bad word. Oh, this is hard, right? I don't really
Mm-hmm.
want to say it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of everything combined makes it a little more difficult.
Okay.
But it's 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside. The workouts can't be together, and they have to be 45 minutes long each. But it
I
doesn't.
don't know how you find time doing it.
I
Running a
get up
restaurant.
really early, and the other reason you can find a bit more time, or I don't know, there's no drinking, so I can't drink alcohol, which is why I'm drinking tea. Um,
Okay.
or I probably would be having a glass of wine. So
Sorry, sorry.
habits. It's fine. Everybody needs to take a drink once in a while. That's nice. But it
So
makes
so when
me
can
want
you
to
so
work
when
out.
can you drink this again? Sorry, I'm being
Oh,
bad now.
I'm rosé all day kind of gal. This is
Okay.
the season, so
Oh, so I picked the right one
yeah,
today.
I love rosé.
Uh-huh.
And then, but the lovely thing is it encourages you to drink more water. You have to drink a gallon of water a day. You
Okay.
have to read 10 pages in a nonfiction book. Um,
Mm,
you have to, what else am I doing? I don't know. Follow a diet, any diet you want.
okay.
I decided to just sort of like get rid of my vices, things that like I use to kind of comfort myself instead of the bad habit foods, I guess. So
Uh-huh.
I've just cut out uh, pasta. That's my weakness. All right.
Okay.
I tend to like if I've worked all day and I haven't eaten, I'll come home and I'll boil a bunch of noodles and I'll just like make a really quick cream sauce and boil some broccoli and like eat a big bowl of noodles.
You know, a lot of people doesn't realize just a little bowl of ketchup will make you so happy if
Yeah,
you know how to appreciate it, if you've done it
right.
right, right? It doesn't have to have like all those fancy high end ingredients in there. Just a nice plate of ketchup will be
Yeah,
like make you satisfied because
yeah,
you know it's all about the simple food that done right, right?
right. When
And
you can
that's
make it so easy all the time, I don't know. I have this problem where I like was eating and then it helps me feel tired and then I can go to sleep, but it was sort of a bad habit. So um, doing this program has just sort of taught me better habits,
mm-hmm,
choosing better times to eat, uh, and exercise, which has been great because I have a chronic foot problem. Doing exercises that are low impact, so
mm-hmm,
bicycle like cycling and really low impact walks with my dog. So
mm-hmm,
I'm not an intense like workout gal,
mm-hmm.
but yoga and cycling, which is no impact on my feet. There's no jumping, there's no
Okay.
running, none of that stuff. I can't do
Mm-hmm.
it. I have a really bad foot. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, that's is yeah. It's been humbling and exhausting, and sometimes you have to work a 14-hour day, and then you're like, I still have to go for my 45-minute walk.
Yeah.
But it is a lovely time to decompress. So what I've found is the walks that I've incorporated into my life because of the challenge I've challenged myself to, is that it's my decompressing like time to like be with myself and be with my thoughts. So I go outside. I live in the city, but I'm one with nature, and it gives me time to think and get fresh air. So it's not something I would have ever pushed myself to do daily, and it's been lovely. I've been exploring little nooks in the city, and There's new washroom facilities at Needham Park, and it has a little dog water fountain, so it can stop.
Hmm.
The dog can get a little sip of water, and yeah, it's been really
You
well.
have you have a textbook chef personality because you're so determined. I see your story every day. I know days that you'll be like, "Oh my God, I'm so tired," but before I go to bed, I still have to get this done. You are so determined on what you do, and that's why you're successful. That's one thing a lot of people doesn't realize. Being a good chef is a lot of hard grinding, and it's every day. You really have to need to have the personality to actually do what we do.
Yeah,
It's not an easy job, and it's not. Most people think like they see on TV, yeah, all those fancy TV chefs do this, do that, but there's a lot of heart and soul and sweat behind the scene that people doesn't realize how hard it is. So I guess to kind of wrap this up tonight, and what else you want to tell the audience, Jeff? Uh oh, uh oh.
I don't know. I feel like I said a lot. I mean, I think like this is something interesting. We're obviously connected on another level because the thing I wanted to say you kind of said, but on a personal level, that you said you were really interested in maybe eating plant-based once a week.
I am.
And I think that is really interesting because just by eating plant-based once a week can make such an environmental impact and an impact on your health,
Hmm.
that I think it just might be worth it for you. Just
That's why I want to start grabbing something there.
yeah. So like, I mean, you can change so much just by making that swap. Um,
Hmm.
it
I'll take you up on that.
you
I'll,
know
I'll definitely want to do it anyway.
if you want to think about your health in a different way, sure, but even environmentally, you're saving so much. Especially, I mean, it depends on how much or like what you eat in a day, but eating plant based is and cutting out meat. The meat consumption does need to be reduced in a general sense because our world is becoming more populated, and
Yes.
the best way to feed the world is with rice, lentils, beans, these types of things that can
Hmm.
sustain us, that can feed us and fill us and fuel us.
Hmm.
And they don't require as much water as a cow. Um,
Hmm.
and I think we all kind of know that. If you see, this will help you watch the movie Cowspiracy, and then you'll happily eat one meal vegan a week. But that's like the short activist in my mind. But I think it's like you save like 200,000 gallons of water in a year just by choosing plant based once or twice a week. Um,
Hmm.
so that's a good reason.
And now come to a little personal question of me. After talking to you for a little bit over an hour now,
Mhm.
and so are you? Do you still want to do that dinner with me?
Yeah.
I was worried about like something I asked, kind of like, oh, I don't want to do it with this person. He's
No,
crazy.
no, we're all a little crazy.
We all are a
That's
little
what we
crazy.
totally do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I cannot vouch more for that. Like, who who would want to do this job with the money you're making, and if you don't have anything that satisfy you is almost not feasible to make you happy, and that's the way it is. But again, Jeff, thank you for joining me tonight. I really enjoyed the conversations. Like, it's kind of funny because we have been talking for so long on in text, but really vocally, verbally, it's the first time,
Yeah.
and we see each other's, and I still gonna do to sneak into your store without you knowing stuff because I don't know. I have to get even. I have to get even.
I thought you knew. I was on the
I,
reservation.
I so embarrassed, like just to think about like I took your resolution without knowing that was you. It was like the funniest thing lately. And no, I'm gonna tell everybody who are we doing having next week. I hope you have fun. And we are going to have Sharon next week. Most people would know, like she started Studio East with Ray, and they from Toronto to Studio East in Halifax, and now they're pretty much off grid now. Like their lifestyle really changing, and Sharon have been showing people how pretty much similar related to what you doing, like the healthy lifestyle. She's pretty much like having her little farm there and doing all her workout, and from a big city girl to now in the valley and almost off grid and doing all those fun stuff that she's doing, and that's pretty much I want to carry on. And of course she's from Cambodia, so we'll be talking a lot of Asian food topics. So I don't know if you get to read the show note on the next shows, and my note is don't piss anybody off. Because you do not want to talk to me about Asian food in HRM. It may not be a pretty scene, but Sharon is sweet, so we'll be talking about that. And again, our chef Lauren Marshall is here tonight, guys. Thank you for her joining us tonight, and hopefully everything will work as I planned it, so I can sneak in there without her knowing me. But it's kind of hard, kind of have a Chinese guy go in and grab a thumbnail without her knowing. So I might have to kind of put a
I'm
little
not
disguise on
telling you my
myself.
days off. I'm not going to tell you my days off.
Oh
So
God, you
that's
got me there.
how
But
we'll figure
but
it.
anyway, well, thanks again, and looking forward to cook with you, because I am having other ideas that I want to maybe invite you guys into my kitchen, put you guys on my crazy walk, and give you guys some food to cook.
That sounds
You know, like I know a lot of chefs been say, chef, like we want to come to your kitchen and look at your equipment, and I can boil 3 liter of water in less than a minute. That's how much fire I can put up through that wok that I'm cooking with every day. Well, you see how much I can cook food out of the kitchen. Um, but I kind of think it's gonna be fun to have some of my top chef friends come in there and just try to cook and maybe videotape some fun videos and see how you guys like it or not. So but anyway, have a good night, everybody. Thanks again, Chef. And I'll see you guys next week. And thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
Chef.